Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm Haley from Green Venture. I just want to start with some housekeeping items. That's important. If you have any questions during the workshop, if you're new to Zoom, there is a chat feature. So you can just click the little chat button and type in your questions as Jordan goes through the presentation. If you get bumped out for any reason, no worries. You can just click the link to join again. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I will let Jordan introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Jordan Fish. I am the Energy Auditor, registered Energy Auditor for Green Venture. I've been in the energy conservation game since 2005. Yep. In and out, but only recently became an energy auditor. And that's me. I also like to fix bikes, and that's who I am. So I guess we will start off on the presentation.
I should also mention, sorry, the questions that you put in the chat, we're going to answer those at the end of the presentation. I didn't say that. Okay, I'm out now.
All right. So just what we're going to be talking about today, how energy audits help the community and the environment, how energy audits help you, the homeowners, assuming you are a homeowner or thinking to become a homeowner, and what are energy audits? What are we actually here for? So about Green Venture. Green Venture is in partnership with Green Communities Canada, a licensed service provider for registered energy audits. And we have been doing it for over 20 years in the Hamilton and Niagara Halton regions, and then a few other places as well. We do a whole bunch of other things as well, as you likely all know. But today we're talking energy audits. So if you look at the arrow pointed yellow orange section, that represents the buildings greenhouse gas emissions from buildings in, I think that's Ontario. I could be wrong. Anyway, almost 50% of our greenhouse gas emissions come from buildings. Now that is not just residential, it's also commercial buildings, but it is the biggest chunk. And so if we're looking to reduce our greenhouse gases, we're gonna want to put some emphasis on making our current building stock more energy efficient. The building sector emissions come mostly from natural gas that is consumed on site for space heating as well as water heating, and then a small amount for the electricity generated for natural gas. All right, home energy use. So as I said, 62% of our of a general house in Ontario comes from heating our house. The next biggest chunk being the water heating, and then going down the line, you'll see that cooling is at 2%, just a small fraction compared to the energy that goes into heating. So we focus mostly on the heating season with the energy audits, because that's where the biggest savings can be. So just exploration for and extraction of fossil fuels in fragile ecosystems, spills and leaks during transportation, urban smog, acid rain, and climate change can all adversely affect our environment. And so selecting the cleanest energy source will have the highest impact. And that goes for your house as well. So why do we focus on energy audits? Over 1 million Canadians have had their homes audited over the 20 years that we have been providing them. And some have, well, you can save, is it up to 60% on home energy costs? That represents an extensive energy savings, but it takes some doing, but you can definitely get there. And 75% of the homes that are standing today will be around in 2050. So to take care of the energy efficiency, take care of the greenhouse gas emissions on that big portion of our housing, we're going to have to make sure our houses are energy efficient. So you matter. So if saving money and the environment isn't for you, consider that the comfort of your home. Reducing drafts will keep the heat that you have spent to create, be it with a super efficient furnace or one that's a little longer in the teeth, you're still going to be saving if you can keep that heat in the house instead of losing it to drafts. You will raise your property value by renovating your house, and it supports the local economy. Local businesses, contractors, supply chain, it's all tied in. So what is an energy audit? It is an evaluation of your home that calculates the total energy consumption of the house, represented now in gigajoules, so that we can easily look across one house to another. The EnerGuide home evaluation can help you understand how your home uses energy now and identify the upgrades that will help improve energy efficiency. The energy advisor, me perhaps, will help you assess your home from the basement to the attic and give you a EnerGuide rating for the home. You can also get a report to help you make decisions on which retrofits to prioritize for saving the most energy. So what do we look at? Mechanicals. We look at your heating system, furnace or boiler, air conditioner, water heater. We check your insulation. We look at the basement, we look at the attic, we look at the exterior walls, we look at your windows and doors, the size of them, which way they're facing, what type of door or window it is, and any shading associated. And then we do the blower door test, which is the most fun part. It allows us to identify how big the leaks are in your house, how many air changes per hour, and specifically where those leaks are. With the door running, you can actually feel the air coming in, say, through a light switch, even on an interior wall, or around an old door, or along your baseboards. Lots of fun with the blower door test. So what do you get? You get a label. And the label is just like the EnerGuide label that comes hanging on your appliances when you buy appliances. This is just one for your home. I believe the next slide goes, yes. So just zoomed in on the top portion of the label here. It shows your house at the top there, the 85 being for this particular house. And then the lower number, the 90, is if a new house was built the same size as your house using building code, that would be the energy use for that house. So you can see with this particular house, it is more efficient than building code. And then bottom left corner is the net zero. If you can generate some energy and have a super efficient house, you can get down to 0, which is kind of the goal. Then moving down the label, the middle section gives you a breakdown of where energy is used. So this house was 54 gigajoules of natural gas, 31 for electricity, and they did not generate any electricity. And then on the right-hand side, you see that the biggest section going to space heating, and then moving down from there, lights and appliances, other electrical, gets smaller and smaller. It also gives you the rated intensity and your greenhouse gas emissions for the year, which are fun numbers. Now, these numbers are not necessarily your house. They are if they stick in a model family into your house so that they can compare your house across to another house equally. And then you also get a homeowner information sheet, just more in depth than the label, breaking things down a little bit more. You'll see the same information, but also if you look at the bottom right corner, the, I guess, more red toned circle, it breaks it down to, you know, where in the home you're losing that energy. So the big sections there, air leakage and the basement on that house were where it was losing energy. So you could guess that for that house, if they spent some energy sealing drafts and insulating the basement. So if you want me to go back a couple slides, I'll just that perhaps, just so that we can see. Back. So yeah, that was the homeowner information sheet in all its glory. And then the zoomed in portion showing where the houses lose energy. And then the breakdown of the greenhouse gas emissions in the house. And we're caught up. Okay. So on the upgrade report, the third document, it has what you could do to improve the house and a breakdown of how much energy you would save doing those upgrades. So in this case, they could save 22 gigajoules a year by upgrading their heating system. And the water heater is 4. Cutting out those drafts is another 3, and the cooling system was 2. My guess is that this report, the homeowner wanted for sure to do the heating system and the air conditioner, so those 2 were put up front. And then at the bottom it says if you do the upgrades, you'll help fight climate change and reduce your emissions by up to 2 tons a year, which is pretty good. And then for that heating system, it gives a recommendation of which sort of heating system to put in. So here they're looking at an air source heat pump, as you can see highlighted under recommendation there. And then a bunch of information, and then after this, it would show a section with the energy auditor's comments, and so there would be some extra information for you directly from the energy auditor. All right, so there are currently rebates through Enbridge, which is also Union Gas, bought out earlier this year, possibly late last year. Anyway, so there are a few rules. You do have to be a customer who heats their home with natural gas, be it with a furnace or a boiler. It has to be detached, semi-detached, townhouse, or mobile home. They added a float house, but I believe that applies to BC more than Ontario. You have to complete the energy assessment before and after renovations, and the initial audit must be done before any renovations happen or demo occurs. We need a finished house at the beginning, and we need a finished house at the end. You do have to do at least 2 items on the list. It's 2 sections of the rebate schedule. So doing 2 windows would not qualify, but doing a window and an attic would qualify. And then you have 120 days from the initial audit to complete all the renovations and have your follow-up done. And we take care of all that paperwork on your behalf. It takes a while for the rebates to get processed after the follow-up audit for that check to show up. So here are not all of the rebates, but a good section of them. You can get up to $5,000. You get $550 back to cover costs of energy audits. That covers everything but the tax for you. So if you replace a furnace, you get $250. A boiler is $1,000. $40 per rough opening on windows or doors. Many bay windows or multiple window systems, they count as 1 window or door. And then insulation, up to $1,250 for the basement, $650 for the attic, and up to $3,000 for exterior walls. Now these are for putting in quite a bit of insulation, but if we're looking to get our house to be as efficient as possible, that may be what it takes. $400 for water heaters and up to $150 for draft proofing and air sealing. Now, there is the additional bonuses at the bottom right there. So if you do 3 items on the list, you get $150 extra money, and 4 items, an extra $500, and 5 or more, $750. But all of that still fits into the $5,000. So if you go over that $5,000, you're still capped at $5,000. Extra stuff you can do. If you haven't already, you can switch over lighting in your house to be more efficient. LEDs are better than the compact fluorescents for reducing energy, but you could also change your switches. You can do dimmers, motion sensors to make sure that those lights are only on when they're needed. Make sure you service your air handling stuff. So change your air filter, set your thermostat back for different times of day. If you upgrade to a programmable thermostat, it will let you program it and then not have to think about it, which is kind of nice, but you can do it manually as well. If you have an electric water heater, you can insulate the water heater, or if you don't have an electric one, insulating the pipes coming out of the water heater also helps save energy. especially the vertical components of the piping. You can lower your hot water heater thermostat. This one, there is a health concern, we'll say. You don't want to lower it below 140 Fahrenheit, which is 60 Celsius, for bacteria growth reasons. So if you keep it above that 140 or 60 Celsius, your water heater water will be safe. And then you can do weather stripping and caulking. But if you really want to make sure you're not, you're not prioritizing, if you want to make sure that you're targeting the right areas, having an energy audit is the best way to figure out where your weather stripping and caulking could go most effectively. All right. So home energy audits provide a detailed analysis of your home's energy use. They can provide a blueprint for improving home energy efficiency and creating a more comfortable and resilient home, and they will help our community reduce greenhouse gas emissions and climate change impacts. Now, we had a few FAQ that came from our fantastic customer service team. When you are planning, when do I get an energy audit? So if you're planning any renovations that involve your furnace, water heater, windows, doors, exterior walls, insulation, then getting an energy audit is a great idea to make sure that you are spending your money in ways that will save you the most energy. When you're planning any major renovations, again, same reasons. You want to make sure that you're using your dollars appropriately. If your house is hard to heat or you have high bills, we can figure out why. Try to bring those bills down and make your house more comfortable. And if you want to know the best way to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions, that big section of the buildings, that's our houses, and we want to make sure that they are as efficient as possible. Now, can I have an energy audit if I've already started my renovation? No, is the beginning answer. You can't do the audit if you've started removing drywall, if the envelope of the building is incomplete. That includes interior walls. So we need to have an audit done before the retrofits are done to be eligible for any rebates. I can't actually do an audit if the house is got, demolition started. It won't work for me. And if your furnace does not work, it is red tagged, it's dead. If you call us as you arrange with your furnace replacement during the heating season, we can direct you to document it properly so that it can be included for the rebates. If it is during the cooling season, you can wait, or the shoulder seasons. It's just during the heating season that they have made a concession so that you can have heat in your house. It's kind of important. And that is the end. If you are interested in booking an audit, the QR code to the right will send you through to our program, our inquiry page, so that you can fill out a form and get the ball rolling. Or if you want, there are other ways. You can give us a call or you can email. And I believe that is everything.
Is it question time?
I think it may be question time.
Okay, so we did get some questions before through the registration process, so I will read some of those. I realize now that some of your questions may have been answered throughout it, but I'll read them out loud anyways. So a little of a high level question. How can we best build small sustainable dwellings sustainably with a low output that also aligns with hooking up to city hydro? On-grid versus off-grid energy systems. That was the question.
I think this is asking about things like laneway housing. So this gets into city bylaw and building permit allowances. I meant to look up if Hamilton allows them, but it is something that is getting some traction now. As far as building them energy efficiently, make sure that if we're building a new place, you're taking care of that envelope, making sure that all of the seams on the outside are taped properly tight and everything, and that the walls are nice and thick so that you can get lots and lots of insulation in there. And then as far as energy, well, heating and cooling and all of that, and energy generation, a lot of these houses are, you know, small roofs, so there's not a lot of room for solar up there. But if you have a roof on the main house that doesn't have too much shading, maybe you could use that area. Hopefully that answers your question to some degree.
Okay, and then another question which might have been answered during this is, what subsidies are available from the federal/provincial government or local government?
Right now, I think that the rebates are through Enbridge / Union. The federal government used to provide grants for this exact program. Those are now taken on through the utility, so it's just shifted to a different place. I'm not aware of any federal or local subsidies. Sometimes the electricity providers have some rebates or coupons or something for energy savings on electrical appliances. So those sometimes come up.
Does the crawl space need to be insulated?
Yes. Yes, it does. There's different ways of doing crawl space insulation depending on how it connects to the rest of the house. You can insulate the ceiling of the crawl space. You can insulate the walls of the crawl space. It depends how it connects in with the rest of the house. To give you a real answer, I would have to have a look at it. So that would be one of those energy audits. We would give you the best information that we can based on your specific houses. The energy audit, I mean, every house is, the report is tailor-made to your house. Every house is different. Every house is a puzzle. There's no plug-and-play answers for the best way to insulate your house. So yes, insulate your crawl space, but you might want to have an energy audit to figure out the best way.
Are there any rebates and incentives available for condo owners?
Condos can go through this program, but I believe that the rebates go to the condo board. There's some, yeah, it's some weird things that go on there. The trouble with condos, with a lot of them, you don't have control over the walls or the ceiling or the windows, and those are, or the doors. You might have control over the heating and cooling and the water heater, but you know, it creates some trouble to get through the condo board bureaucracy, we'll say.
This might be a question that's answered during an energy audit, but how do you know when you should invest in new windows or a front door?
So for the most part, with windows and doors, they are a small part of your house. Insulating your exterior walls will have a more profound energy saving than replacing your windows or doors. So the best time to replace your windows or doors is, well, there's a few answers there, but from the energy side, if you have single pane windows, then you can save quite a bit by replacing them. If your windows are in bad shape, drafty, or if the house has settled and there's gaps, replacing windows makes sense. And then for the most part, window replacement happens on a more emotional level. People don't like the look of their windows and they want to replace them. And there is not a lot wrong with that. You have to live in that house, or you get to live in that house, and you should like it. It should make you happy. So if replacing your windows makes you happy, then go for it. Just put in good ones.
Does the two types of insulation, for example, basement and attic insulation, count as two measures?
Yes. So attic insulation is separate from basement insulation, is separate from exterior wall insulation.
Okay. Are there any restrictions to what kind of houses can use a heat pump? A heat pump that was mentioned.
With a air source heat pump like the house that went into there, it is a electric heat source, which is more expensive to run, but far more efficient in that use of energy. So to heat your house with a heat pump, be it, with an air source heat pump, you would need a house that already had ductwork in there. You do need a backup heating system by code. So you would still need a furnace. It could be an electric furnace if you wanted to get completely off of gas, which might be becoming more popular now. But what you want to do first is to make sure the house is going to keep that heat, because it does cost more to generate that heat. So you want to take care of the drafts and you want to take care of the insulation, and then think about heating with that heat pump. There's also ductless heat pump systems that you can get. They work great as well. So that's, you don't need to have a furnace. If you have a boiler system, you can go with the ductless ones. Just need to figure out the best way to install them.
Does the energy audit support providing a return on investment calculation or information? Like addressing the issue would save X and the investment would save X will cost Y, either in like payback years or something.
It does not, because we don't project the cost of the replacement, but we do give you that gigajoule savings, which can be extrapolated through to gas savings if you do a few calculations on that conversion. Also, the report gives you not necessarily your family's energy usage. It gives you a model family's energy usage so that you can compare across houses, that same family moving into every house in Ontario, basically, and what that energy use looks like. So the return on investment might be slightly different based on your personal energy use.
Okay. Is there any consideration giving to the possible need to add additional ventilation to aid with super airtight homes with respect to
Yes.
off-gassing from carpets, paints, etc.? New homes will require the HRV systems, as the new homes, they say, are almost too airtight.
Yes. So the ideal home is completely airtight, absolutely sealed all the way around. But there is a need for fresh air. And with the energy audit, we're able to determine if your house is nearing or exceeding the threshold of requiring fresh air from an HRV, for instance, which is, a heat recovery ventilator. It's a mechanical air system that's balanced, that preheats the cold air coming in with the warm air going out to make sure there is appropriate fresh air in the house. And that is the most efficient way to have a house, is to have that perfectly sealed exterior and then bring in the appropriate amount of mechanically balanced air.
Awesome. Are ratings affected since more people working from home and thus using more energy?
The ratings are not, because it is based on that model family that moves into every house. Your energy use at home maybe, well, quite probably is affected. You're probably not setting back your thermostat while you're away at work. You're probably using more electricity to run computers and whatever else to keep you entertained. So unfortunately, the rating isn't affected, but your energy use likely is.
Is there a recommended thermostat level for the wintertime?
Yes, there is. I would go with what you're comfortable with, but what you're comfortable with while wearing sweaters and slippers, not what you're comfortable with in shorts and shirt sleeves. Everybody feels heat differently. The way that you heat your home might change the temperature level. So if you have radiant heat from a boiler, you probably have a different need than if you have forced air. So I would go with the coldest that you're still comfortable while wearing slippers and sweaters.
Cool. Does Green Venture support the process to apply for rebates, or are homeowners on their own?
The Green Venture takes care of all the rebate paperwork. So we take care of all that for you. We file on your behalf and make sure that everything goes through.
Awesome. Do you have to purchase the furnace and air conditioning from Union Gas or Alliance, or just be a gas consumption customer?
You just have to be a customer of Union Gas or Enbridge to qualify. Doesn't matter where you buy your furnace from. It has to be the required efficiency to qualify for the program. So you can get it from any furnace manufacturer. It can be any installer. You can, if you're licensed to do so, you can do it yourself.
Okay. Is there any viable heating alternative fuel source to natural gas other than geothermal, or is electric heating better?
Again, with the air source heat pump, it is viable, but we do want to make sure that the house is airtight and well insulated so that the costs don't go through the roof. Through the roof is maybe the wrong term there, but if you want, it is fairly comparable to the cost to heat a house that is efficient with an air source heat pump to heating, your average house.
Will the energy audit include a review of my home's utility bills?
No, we don't review the bill itself, because we are determining the energy use based on the items that we find in the house. So not the items like your television, but the items such as the insulation, the drafts, and the mechanicals, the furnace and the water heater and air conditioner. So we don't look at your bills.
Okay. What is the upfront cost for a Green Venture energy audit before rebates and renovations?
So the initial energy audit is $375 plus HST. The follow-up is $175 plus HST. And then if you remember back on the rebate page, you got $550 back to cover the cost of the audits, which is the before tax 375 plus 175 is 550. So there you go.
Actually, that for right now is all the questions we have. So if anyone has any lingering questions, I can just wait here for a second. But if you would like to pop out, unless you have anything else to add, Jordan, but I think we've covered everything.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Yes, thank you.